Nini everyone, Zabora here. So let's go ahead and start up with our lesson, shall we? So for those of you who are new to my channel, I practice most what would be considered hoodoo. I also follow the Egyptian pantheon and incorporate Heka, which is Egyptian magic, into my practice. But Heka is more about speech magic and the written word. So by the way that I incorporate that is through like petition papers and speaking with authority. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here on lesson 1, spiritually gifted. So there are signs of being spiritually gifted in Egypt. Dwarves were considered extremely lucky. People that were born with beautiful red hair were considered children of Set, and they were very special. So there were signs of being gifted and stuff in Egypt. In hoodoo, during the birth of a child, they have what they call the veil or cowl, and that's where like the placenta will partially, or not the placenta, the embryonic sac will partially obscure the baby's face when it's being born. These are harder to detect with modern technology and pregnancies. This is more of a time when midwives and stuff were delivering babies and not hospitals and nurses. So supposedly this cowl would allow children to prophesize and have second sight. So they were also probably handy with divination. Now these gifts typically run in families. They're, like I said, they're kind of harder to detect with modern technology. Even fathers aren't allowed in the birth rooms with cameras because there's been so many like malpractice suits and stuff caught on camera. So gifts can pass between genders, they can pass between generations, and depending on your tradition and your beliefs and possibly even your lineage would be how your gifts are passed. Like my gifts came down through my mother's side, which came down through her mother, which came from her father. So they can kind of bounce around and stuff like that. But, that's just my Irish side. I don't know what gifts I may have gotten from my Native American side or possibly any other bloodline that I may have. In Strega, Italian witchcraft, they say that the magic is passed through the female line. In Wicca, they do the initiations male to female, female to male, male to female, back and forth like that. And that's how their gifts are passed on. Let's see, what else did I read? Oh, in Cajun tradition, it's the same way, male to female, female to male, and it bounces back and forth like that. Now, I'm going to discuss dreaming true, and that's basically when you have dreams that come true. And this is not a gift that everyone has, but it is my belief that most witches and pagans of some variety have a psychic gift. Actually, it's my belief that most people have a psychic gift. It's just the development of that gift. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. It's just where you are in developing that gift. So, don't freak out if you don't have prophetic dreams. Not everybody does, okay? It's just one of the gifts that they have. Now, family links can be important as deceased relatives can visit and things like that. It can be a way for people to help solve problems, this dreaming true, in their daily life. But like I said, they could also be dreaming of a future event. So that's dreaming true, okay? Now, natural gifts like reading people or objects, just being like, this eraser has seen better days. It was used aggressively in my Book of Shadows. Now, I know that because I'm the one using it. But that's like anybody. They pick up a gift or they pick up an object and been like, oh, these nails. They're so dark. They've been near bodies, inside coffins, and inside formaldehyde. They'll be able to just pick up an object and know what it is about that object. Now, these natural gifts can also be stopping bleeding, curing warts, cure the evil eye, cure pain through touch. Those are all natural gifts. They're not something that can be taught. Usually these gifts are simple to do, simple to master, and it's usually a simple technique that is needed to focus energy to complete the change, or whatever it is. If you're curing the evil eye or curing warts or whatever, it's usually a simple technique that is mastered. So, gifts of art. These gifts cover divination, like throwing the bones or employing cartomancy, which is cards. Okay, we'll go back to our witchy words and we'll start that up again. Some people are just naturally drawn to certain systems of divination. It's not really important to have these gifts, as they can be taught. Anybody can be taught how to use, like, the runes. But that there are people that have the natural affiliation for the runes. I'm not one of those people. I don't do the runes. Cartomancy is my thing. Tarot is my thing. I am naturally gifted with tarot. But I still learned quite a bit through studying it. Okay, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So, gifts of magical art. These are the ability to employ change. They're used by everyday successful practitioners. They fall somewhere between the gifts of art and the gifts of natural ability. No amount of training is going to make you a magical worker. You can either detect and manipulate the energy, or you can't. You can practice at it, but if you can't ever sense it, how do you know if you're manipulating it? Again, it's my belief that most people have this ability. It's just a matter of flipping the switch and turning it on through simple techniques. Okay? Now, every culture has something that is classified as that's something extra, that's something different, that makes magic work. These include trance states, concentrating on your desires, entering into pacts with entities, chanting perfectly while gathering ingredients in the woods, using proper tools. These are all things that could contribute to that something extra in your magic, okay? While all of these can play a factor, it's more about your experience as a magician. If you're too worried about doing something right, then you're not going to be able to do it at all. The only something extra, in my opinion, that you really need is your mind. Okay? As an atheist, I believe that the mind is a very powerful thing, and it can create very powerful things. So, for me, the only thing that you need is an open mind. Okay? Now, when you get started, the more simple a spell is as you start out, and the easier it is to accomplish in the mundane world, the easier it will be for you to get your goal to be accomplished. You will have a successful spell that way. The easier it will be for an untrained magician to have a successful working, the simpler the spell is. Okay? For others, or people that are going against the flow of events, those spells are going to be a little bit more difficult to master, because there's certain things that must be manipulated. See, magic follows the path of least resistance. That's why it's my belief that magic is always supplemental. You must put in the mundane effort in order to get what you want. You can't just be like, I'm gonna make this person call me by lighting this yellow candle for communication without that person ever having your phone number. You know, it's not going to happen. Those aren't spells that are going to work, okay? So the mundane needs to be set up before you can get spiritual with it, before you can get witchy with it, okay? Alright, so spiritual specialties. Now, this is a VR that I had done to Creole Witch. He was talking about affinities in magic. My spiritual gifts and stuff are protection and banishment and curse work, whereas his definitely aren't those. They're more about love and peace, and he's got a very calm energy about him. You know, you can tell the difference between us as witches. So, no matter how spiritually gifted you are, no matter how successful you are as a magician, no matter how many years you've been doing this, there are going to be certain things that you're never going to be comfortable with, or never use, or simply can't master, or you have least success with them, I should say. That's fine. No man is an island. Everybody has their certain gifts that they're good with. Everybody is going to need a little bit of help every once in a while. And that's perfectly fine. That helps to connect us as a community of witches. I can be like, oh my god, Witchy Jim, I need help with animal magic. And he'd be like, oh, okay, so let me do this spell for you. And I'd be like, cool, here's $100. You know, it helps to build our abilities as witches, our community as witches, excuse me, when we're able to rely on each other. Because, like I said, no man's an island. Someone's going to be good at something that you're not, or you're going to be good at something that they're not good at, or you're going to have more experience than they will, and they need help. So it does help to build our community when we communicate and talk to each other. Alright, so what I want you to do, if you guys are going to be approaching this like as actual lessons, I am going to have some homework assignments in here. The homework assignment that I want you to do is get yourself a blank book. Okay, this is mine. Mine was kind of expensive. You don't have to have this. You can have a 3-ring binder, like my original Book of Shadows, okay? But you're gonna start a book, all right? And you're gonna write in that book what your spiritual gifts are. It can be a little composition notebook. You can call it. It's not gonna be a Book of Shadows, really. It's gonna be more like a Book of Mirrors, and that is the personal stuff that goes into the book. Like, this is my Book of Mirrors that I started. This is my first page, so I'm gonna show you this. This is Book of Mirrors. This is the magical journal, if you guys don't know what the Book of Mirrors is. It's everything that you experience magically as a witch. So this is your personal journal, okay, about witchcraft. In here, I actually included a little chant from Silver Ravenwolf, because it's so fucking cute, and it's so perfect. And you guys know how I feel about Silver Ravenwolf, so you know this has to be good. Beware the urge to take this book, or read it in some private nook, because its magic isn't blind, and it will know you have touched what is mine. Sa, Sakem, Sahu. And that's just a little power. That's an Egyptian thing right there. So, yeah, and then I've got my Egyptian name, Maitim Sekhmet. That's Lioness of Sekhmet. So, yeah, you guys are going to go ahead and start yourself a little magic journal. It can be any kind of notebook. It can be a blank binder. It can be a composition notebook. It don't matter. The point is that this is your magic book. You guys really need to start writing, to explore yourself. Know thyself was written above the temple in Delphi for a reason. Alright? So, that's it for tonight, guys. Senapti.